Howdy, howdy. Hope you're well. Welcome to my channel. All two of you that may view. So disappointing. A perfect stranger with no YouTube history at all can come on YouTube and get at least 100 views. But I can't get 50 because the lockdown is so strong. I'm seriously, and I just now started thinking seriously about what I need to do. I need to get a burner phone, and then I'm going to prove to you guys the censorship. That is not just the IP address on my phone. I've shown you guys with the records that my IP address has been used. My IP address was accessed in Switzerland. My IP address was accessed in Longview, Texas. My IP address, anything that goes through my phone, goes through the Department of Defense in Ohio. I have 2 IP addresses that's associated with me. My personal IP for my phone and communications, but I have also an IP address that goes directly to the DOD. And I can show that to you personally. If you go to your addresses go back in your menu to the About phone, and you can see if they're pulling you off the DOD or if it goes straight to you. And all you got to do is type in that address, that IP address on Google, and it'll tell you the IP address is registered. My IP address goes directly to the DOD. So anything that is said in or around my phone, anywhere I'm at, this phone is recording 24/7. So if I'm sitting at home on the couch and I say something bad that I don't want the world to hear, they hear it. Anything I say, then they can use that against you and say, oh yeah, they were communicating on the phone these government threats. When it was never on the phone, it was just recorded from the phone. Not only that, not only is the cell phone the greatest form of prison in the world, because you say what you're thinking. Not only is it the greatest prison, they can track everything you do. I've told you they don't need your cell phone to track you. You have a resonant frequency, just like the video I shared the other night. You have a resonant frequency that they can access with a formula to get through your DNA. So all they got to do is, when you had the jab, if you got the jab, what'd they do? They took a DNA stick and shoved it up in your nose. Anytime you've given plasma, they got your DNA. Any way they can to get your DNA, they have it. And now when you're born, they pull your blood and check your blood. You're automatically on a registry. Every person born in America the last 30 years, you are on the resonant frequency registry. In other words, they have the radio station for your brain, for everything you do. So they don't need a cell phone to track you. Let me also reiterate, they not only can listen to your conversations, they're literally reading your mind. Everything in your head, any part of the brain, you have parts for anxiety, you have parts for happiness, you have parts for memory, you have parts for mobility. Your brain controls everything. They can control your brain. Stop, please help others. This is what I'm doing, people. I'm stopping and helping others. They have full control. I don't need to get help. I'm talking facts. If you don't understand facts, you got a bigger problem than I do. A lot bigger problem. They can read your mind. And if you'll go on Google and Google mind reading, they'll tell you, yes, we've been reading minds for a very long time. Mark Zuckerberg told you we're inventing technology to read the mind. Elon Musk says what? We have Neuralink. We're going to hook up everybody to a mainframe. Oh, the hive mind. So it's not that I need help. It's the fact that you're just ignorant and illiterate because you're not willing to go find the information that has been out for 50 years. They've had this technology since before MK Ultra. What's that, Bill Maher? Bill Maher, the smartest dumb person in media. MK Ultra, who's that? I don't know who MK Ultra is. So, come on here and bump your gums and act like that there's something physically wrong with me, and I will put you in the basement with facts. Now, let's start the day. The attack is on. I don't know if I told you guys last night, they killed my dash lights. So today I opened the panel. There was I think I did a live stream of it. It hasn't posted. The live probably won't post for a few days. Or maybe it's a video, I don't know. But I pulled the panel out and somebody has gotten into my fuse panel and broken the fuse panel. So it's no longer attached, it's just hanging in there. So the dash lights don't work now. They fried the refrigerator in my house isn't even a year old. And it's toast. It's fried. First I opened the door one day and the button that turned on and off the light, it just flew out. Well, that fried the main computer, and we kind of patched it and put a new button in so the light would work. And then I've been having to manually defrost it by punching in a code, holding the buttons a certain amount of time and pushing a couple of buttons. Well, the defrosting method, I did not know this, but new refrigerators have a heater in them. They have a heater that's supposed to defrost it. So I manually defrosted it because the fan was grinding against the ice. So since I manually defrosted it, now the whole thing doesn't work. So I've got about 5 to 7 pounds of deer meat in the back that's went bad now. Just like every time I leave my house, I come back home and another one of my jars, my food that I've canned, another one of my jars has the seal has popped. It's so strange. If it seals once you take it out of the pressure cooker, it should stay sealed forever. Nothing should be able to break that seal unless you take the ring off and pop the lid. Well, I lost 6 jars of food, 2 big tall jars of chicken, and then 4 smaller jars of chicken. So I lost about 3 pounds of chicken now, and about 4 pounds of deer meat. That's 7 pounds of meat that I'm having to dispose of right now. What's up, Zoloff? So that's 7 pounds of food I lost today. Still got bacon and stuff in my refrigerator. I meant to take it out before I left the house, but I didn't, because I gotta hurry up and get somewhere. Tina and I had to go get some food for critters. Stopped by a shoe place, and that woman was in there slinging shoes. I didn't know. They still have layaway at the shoe store. The shoe store we went to, they had like buy one, get one half off. And then if you buy a warranty on the shoe, you can bring it back for any reason within a year and get a brand new shoe. So Tina bought like $150 worth of shoes. I was like, honey, we need to be saving money. We got a house to build. We got a house to build, or we got a house to find, or we got to do something. So life is getting really tight. Anyway, that's what I'm dealing with. And I've spotted the last 2 weeks that they're coming in and out of houses, in and out of my house again. Where I go to sleep, the back door's locked, and I wake up, the back door's unlocked. Would she have relatives who could help? Tina has a place to go. Her relatives will always open the door for her and Mason. She will always have a house to be. I don't have anybody that help me. I'm sure my daughter wouldn't mind me showering at her house, but I wouldn't impose. I'm a man. I do what I got to do to survive, and I'll survive this regardless. My daughter, who is, I guess she's 22 now. Her and my oldest daughter, I guess my oldest daughter's like 28. They're starting to realize that Dad was right. Because when they grew up, we always had a Confederate battle flag hanging up at my house. Now, they knew that their dad had no hate in his heart for anybody. They knew that. So they didn't understand what the flag meant to me, but what the flag meant to people who don't speak for a living. People who aren't smart enough to tie their own shoes. Did you know when I was at the shoe store, they had a pair of shoes there that had the strings on it and they were tied together, but they were slippers. Are you understanding what I'm saying? They now have shoes for people who don't. All right, so I'm here. As people get older and more mature, they figure things out. She wouldn't push for you to be able to join her. No, Tina will not go against her family for me. She will not. I don't know if you remember the story, but I went to Tina's mom's house, I guess it's 10 years ago. And they're just regular old Southern folks. They like watching racing on Sunday afternoons, and that's pretty much their pastime. Her mom used to be a pretty serious gambler. In other words, she liked going places and throwing her money away. Her health is she's getting pretty frail now. But one of the meetings at the house, I don't know if it's Thanksgiving or it's Christmas. I did not know that their favorite driver was Jimmie Johnson. And I was talking about Rick Hendrick, who owns the Jimmie Johnson racing team. And I told him I used to work for Rick Hendrick, and he was a jerk. Well, I was banned from their house because I talked crap about their race car driver. Banned because I talked crap about a race car driver. Also, to add to that, her mother used to be very, very controlling until Tina met me. And I showed Tina how she was being manipulated. And there was a text where her mom was just going off on me. And I used the F word. Like one time in a text, I used the F word. And because I used the F word, that was the end. Insult my race car driver and use the F word, you're gone. So I'm not allowed there. No, she will not push for me to be there. She will not stand up against her family at all. She loves her mama. She's family oriented. Nope, she will not cross that line. And that sucks for me, huh? Because I'm telling you, if I'm with you, if you're my wife, and my family says she's not allowed over here, I'm telling you to kick rocks. You're my wife. If you're not welcome, I'm not welcome. No, we are one. According to God, we're one. One body, one mind. So, I don't even fret about it anymore. But anyway, get back to my flag, my Confederate battle flag. Nobody knows what that means except me. You need to study history. I'm not going to go into the history lesson tonight, but the Civil War was not over slavery. There wasn't a great switch. It didn't turn out the Republicans were the good guys and then they switched and now they hate black people. That's just a lie. So, my daughters that were stolen from me by social services because they tried to traffic my children. And then they came back in my life and they were all like, oh, Dad, you got the rebel flag and, you know, that means hate. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. Because they know my heart. They know I'm not hateful. So my daughter today's like, Dad, this little Mexican woman come up to me today and she's like, blah, 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 blah. And I couldn't understand her and she was being mean to me because I couldn't understand her. She had tried to do Google Translate, but the woman couldn't. The man that was talking, there's two people. She said the Mexican came up to her and was asking for something. She could not understand him. So out of the kindness of her heart, she got Google Translate. He could not even read. He could not even read. These are people, millions of them coming into our country. They are the lowest of the low. They have no education. They are poor. They have skills. They're here to put you and I and all Americans out of business, and they are. That's why they start businesses and they only buy from their own people. You think white people are prejudiced? You start looking at all these Mexicans because they hate whites and they hate blacks and they are here to take over. Don't you think I'm joking? They brag about it, about brown supremacy. So my daughter dealt with that situation. She was trying to be polite as she could. Then another woman that works there in the deli, I think it's in a deli. No, it's somewhere else in there. She's a Mexican. And that woman started talking to another Mexican woman, and they were sitting there attacking my daughter for not being able to understand them. And my daughter was like, what's going on, Dad? I said, this is exactly what I told you 20 years ago. It isn't about hate. You cannot have a democratic republic, a constitutional republic that has systems set up for the poor and then invite the whole world's poor in. You cannot do that. So now they're building schools for the illegals. It isn't for our children, because whites now have the lowest birth rate in history. Why? It is intentional that they are trying to make us stop breeding. They have destroyed sperm levels in men. They have destroyed egg levels in women. They have destroyed the process of getting pregnant in America and around the world through the food, through the water, through the skies. They do not want us breeding. So if you do not breed, what happens? Eventually society collapses because there's no one to take care of the old people. That's why China is coming here to take us, because they don't have the resources. They don't have the people, because they have a one-male policy. So that's why God says, go out and be fruitful and have babies. Guess what? We haven't done that enough to keep the population up. While at the same time, they're killing birth rates through what? Mainly through abortion, but also you're not counting the millions that who cannot afford to have children. If you're a minority in America, especially an illegal alien, they are paying you to breed. Have babies? Here's the money. Have babies? Here's the food stamps. Have babies? Here's the house. Have babies? Here's money for the power bill. If you're Hispanic or you're from a different country, they are paying you to breed, because societies that are non-white, listen to me, societies that are non-white are easier to collapse. You look throughout the world, there is not I don't want to say Mexican, because it's not Mexico, but Latino, South Americans, even Africans, black and browns, there isn't a country out there that isn't corrupt. The only nations that started on a basis of, I guess, somewhat non-corruption stand tall and they're strong. Minorities, I do not know what it is, and I hate to be the one that says it, but corruption is so easy and so prevalent. You look at Africa, they've been totally bought by the Chinese. The Chinese just threw money at them, said, okay, we're going to build a railroad. You pay us back. Okay, here's $1 million. Okay, we're not going to pay you back. Okay, we take Africa and all your minerals. It was that simple. It was that simple for China to take Africa. Just like all the money America has taken from Africa. Guess what? They're here now. China owns more farmland in North Carolina than any other person. China owns more farmland in the United States than any other entity, only next to Bill Gates. And BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, is taking more and more land every single day. My daughter is now understanding. We didn't have traffic like this 10 years ago. Stores weren't crowded like this 10 years ago. There weren't slums like this 10 years ago. Housing availability, there were houses everywhere 10 years ago. When you bring 50 million in and half of them are pregnant women, you can overload a society in an instant. 50% unemployment and a power grid that's so close to failure. So saying it's exactly. Our grid is 70 years old. Granted, it looks better than India, where they got 1 million wires going into one box. Granted, that's better than India. But you know how easy it is to take out power stations in America? Because none of them are guarded. They're lucky if they have fencing around them. They're lucky if they have chain link fences around them. But all you got to do is drive a truck up in the middle of it, you shut the whole place down. And that takes one person in one car to do that. One person, one car. Go out in California. Do what the government did the other year in Paradise, where they hit it with a directed energy weapon. All it takes is it being hot and dry, and them going and lighting a match in the middle of a national forest, and they burn up 1 million acres in a matter of days. million acres and 200 people unhoused. America is a sitting duck for destruction. My daughters are understanding what Daddy was talking about. They didn't see America beforehand. The only immigrant child I went to school with was only in 8th grade, and he was a foreign exchange student. In other words, he came from another country, stayed with an American family. They taught him American ways, got educated here, and then he went back home after his college education to make his country better. Now, they all come here and they don't go back home. The only thing they have that goes back home is the American dollars in their pockets. The number I heard the other day, spend in America, $450 billion on illegal immigration. It's like right now, I'm up in the mountains. Illegals bought that big farmhouse. This whole road, illegals own everything. Why? Because the government's more money. We went to the shoe store and Tina bought us some shoes. And a woman's like, she said, listen, they told us on the news that these illegals had debit cards. She said they come in here and buy up brand new shoes with a U.S. card on it, just like an EBT card, except it's cash. She said each one of those cards had $3,000. I don't know if she mentioned a receipt, but she spoke on how she knew for sure the number was $3,000. They're coming and we're screwed. We're already screwed. Canada, of course, Mexico aren't safe. Sweden has been overrun by Islamists. Sweden's rape rate went up 400% rape went up in Sweden now. 400%. Norway, Nordic countries are the safest places to be. And if you're between the ages of 18 and 30, they will pay you to come because their birth rates are so low. So I love my daughters, but I'm trying to talk them into going. Go. If I never see you again, I love you. Go and be safe somewhere else because it is not safe here. Oh, it's raining up here in the mountains. There won't be any rain at my house, but there's rain up in the mountains. Iceland, yeah, but who wants to deal with ice all the time? Anyway, I'm at my destination. America is falling so fast. It's incredible. As my daughters realize, it's not about hate. You would not leave the front door on your house wide open and let everybody come eat out of your refrigerator. You would not do that for your safety and your security. So why do we allow it to be done at our borders? Why do we pay them to do it at our borders? God bless.